जय जय राम कृष्ण हरे, जय राम कृष्ण हरे, जय जय राम कृष्ण हरे, जय राम कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 जय राम, जय जय राम, जय जय राम। सियावर रामचंद्र की, राधावर कृष्णचंद्र की, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम नमो नारायण, 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 ओम नमो नारायण। केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव, केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव, केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव, केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव। ओम नमो नारायण, 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 ओम नमो नारायण। माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव, माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव, माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव, माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव। ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण। गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद, गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद, गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद, गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद। ओम नमो नारायण, 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 ओम नमो नारायण। केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव, केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव, माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव, माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव। गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद, गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद। ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण।
Hariom everyone. Can you all hear me clearly? Thank you. With just 8 days left for the Mahasamadhi camp, things have finally started heating up. The pace has picked up. The stage is being set. The final things are being strung together. Hope and pray that all of you have registered for the Mahasamadhi camp. If you go to cmdfw.org or just type in Chinmaya Mission Dallas Fort Worth, it should take you to the main web page. On the right hand of that web page, you will find a link for registering. So please go ahead and register, because even for attending in person, you will have to register. That is the only difference between it being a camp and it being a Jnana Yajna. So please do register. That way we would know what to prepare for, how much to prepare for, and it will give us a good idea. And those of you who cannot attend are from other places across US, rather across the world, you will get to participate in not just those which are live, but that which is recorded as well. So we have Pujya Swami Swarupananji, the head of Chinmaya Mission. He'll be speaking on Sampurna Ramayana. Then Swami Tejomayananji, Guruji, he'll be speaking on Vedanta Madhuryam. And there will be also a segment for the kindergarten through 12th grade and Chick and CSK. For them, there will be a special segment. Brahmacharins and Swamins are getting ready for that as well. So that will be the complete package. So please go ahead and register. That way you'll be able to participate both in person and to the online segments as well. The summer heat is relentless. Wish it would cool off with few drizzles of rain here and there before we can start. That way it is a cooler environment. It's a wish list. But be safe, because the COVID numbers are raising. It is supposed to be an endemic, the pandemic which is ending, but seems like it is picking up again, and those who have been vaccinated are also getting it, and those who have had COVID and gone through, they are also getting it. So the immunity and the vaccination immunity is not helping, is not protecting. So say the doctors, so say the increased numbers in the hospital. And the numbers that are being displayed in various portals, one has to remember that these numbers are only those numbers that have reached the system, because almost everybody has a testing kit, and the guess is that almost 80% of them are not reflecting in the system and therefore not reflecting in the numbers. So be careful. You may look funny, you may look like a penguin wearing the mask continuously, but better to be safe than sorry, because the long COVID effect seems to be creating a havoc. So stay protected. We will begin with the invocation and then get into the Lalita Sahasranamam, and then after Lalita Sahasranama we'll get into the fourth Skanda, fourth canto of Bhagavatam. Today there is going to be a lot of, in this particular chapter there is going to be a lot of gali galoch, and gali galoch is a lot of cuss words. because it is about Daksha and his Vairudhyam, or stiff opposition to Bhagvan Shiva, and his enmity towards how he develops it and how it quickly escalates into a pretty bad show. So that is what we intend to look into, which also reminds that whatever has happened historically is recorded in these scriptures, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how to revive from it as well. That is the beauty. It is not just a winner's story, that it has to depict a certain kind of perspective. So we'll go through that today. So let us begin with our invocation and start the day. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Let us begin. ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यां मलिपूर्णरत्नशशकं रत्नोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीं। ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसद्धेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं। श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसितेक्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषां वरां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविदौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम्। ॐ श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्ड पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरा मज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डमण्डला चम्पकाशोकपुन्नागसौगन्धिकलसत्कचा कुरुविन्दमनिश्रेणी कनत्कोटीरमण्डिता अष्टमी चन्द्रविभ्राजदलिकस्थलशोभिता मुखचन्द्रकलङ्काभा मृगनाभिविशेषका वदनस्मरमाङ्गल्यगृहतोरणचिल्लिका वक्त्रलक्ष्मीपरिवाह चलन्मीनाभलोचना नवचम्पकपुष्पाभा नासादण्डविराजिता ताराकान्तितिरस्कारी नासाभरणभासुरा कदम्बमञ्जरीक्लुप्तकर्णपूरमनोहरा ताटङ्कयुगलीभूता तपनोडुपमण्डला पद्मरागशिलादर्शपरिभाविकपोलभूः नवविद्रुमबिम्बश्रीनक्कारिरदनच्छदा शुद्धविद्याङ्कुराकारा द्विजपङ्क्तिद्वयोज्ज्वला कर्पूरवीटिकामोदा समाकर्षिदिगन्तरा निजसल्लापमाधुर्य विनिर्भत्सितकच्छपी मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरा मज्जत्कामेशमानसा अनाकलितसादृश्या चिबुकश्रीविराजिता कामेशबद्धमाङ्गल्य सूत्रशोभितकन्धरा कनकाङ्गदकेयूरा कमनीयभुजान्विता रत्नग्रैवेयचिन्ता कलोलमुक्ताफलान्विता कामेश्वरप्रेमरत्नमणिप्रतिपनस्तनी नाभ्यालवालरोमाली लताफलकुचद्वयी लक्षरोमलताधारतासमुन्नेयमध्यमा स्तनभारदलन्मध्य पट्टबन्धवलित्रया अरुणारुणकौसुम्भ वस्त्रभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणीकारम्य रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्यमार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमकुटाकारा जानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रकोपपरिक्षिप्तस्मरत्तूर्णाभजङ्गिका गूढगुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठा जयिष्णुप्रपदान्विता नकदीतिथि सञ्चन्ना नमज्जनतमो गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजाल पराकृत्सरोरुहा सिञ्जानमणिमञ्जीरमण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मरालीमन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवदिः सर्वारुणानवद्याङ्गी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्था श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्था पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवीसंस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्घाता स्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिसेना समन्विता संपत्करी समारूढ़ सिंधुरव्रतसेविता अष्टारूढ़ाधिष्ठिताश्व कोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढ़ा सर्वायुधपरिष्कृता गेयचक्ररथारूढ़ा मंत्रिणी परिसेविता किरिचक्ररथारूढ़ा दण्डनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वालामालिनिकाक्षिप्तवह्निप्राकारमध्यगा भण्डसैन्यवधोद्युक्ता शक्तिविक्रमहर्षिता नित्यापराक्रमाटोपनिरीक्षणसमुत्सुका भण्डपुत्रवधोद्युक्ता बाला विक्रमनन्दिता मन्त्रिण्यम्बा विरचिता विषङ्गवदतोषिता विशुक्रप्राणहरणा वाराही वीर्यनन्दिता कामेश्वरमुखालोका कल्पितश्रीगणेश्वरा महागणेशनिर्भिन्ना विघ्नयन्त्रप्रहर्षिता भण्डासुरेन्द्रनिर्भुक्ता शस्त्रप्रत्यस्त्रवर्षिणी कराङ्गुलिनखोत्पन्ना नारायणदशाकृतिः महापाशुपतास्ताग्नि निर्दग्धासुरसैनिका कामेश्वरास्त्रनिर्दग्धा सबण्ढासुरशून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्रमहेन्द्रादि देवसंस्तुतवैभवा हरनेत्राग्निसन्दग्धा कामसञ्जीवनौषधिः श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैका स्वरूपमुखपङ्कजा कण्ठादक्कटिपर्यन्ता मध्यकूटस्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापन्ना कट्यदोभागधारिणी मूलमन्त्रात्मिका मूलकूटत्रयकलेवरा कुलामृतैकरसिका कुलसङ्केतपालिनी कुलाङ्गना कुलान्तस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी अकुला समयान्तस्था समयाचारतत्परा मूलाधारैकनिलया ब्रह्मग्रन्थिविभेदिनी मणिपूरान्तरुदिता विष्णुग्रन्थिविभेदिनी आज्ञाचक्रान्तरालस्था रुद्रग्रन्थिविभेदिनी सहस्राराम्बुजारूढा सुदासाराभिवर्षिणी तडिल्लता समरुचिः षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्तिकुण्डलिनी बिसतन्तुतनीयसी भवानी भावनागम्या भवारण्यकुठारिका भद्रप्रिया भद्रमूर्तिर्भक्तसौभाग्यदायिनी भक्तिप्रिया भक्तिगम्या भक्तिवश्या भयापहा शाम्भवी शारदाराध्या शर्वाणी शर्मदायिनी शाङ्करी श्रीकरी साध्वी शरच्चन्द्रनिभानना शातोदरी शान्तिमती निराधारा निरञ्जना निर्लेपा निर्मला नित्या निराकारा निलाकुला निर्गुणा निष्कला शान्ता निष्कामा निरुपप्लवा नित्यमुक्ता निर्विकारा निष्प्रपञ्चा निराश्रया नित्यशुद्धा नित्यबुद्धा निरवध्या निरन्तरा निष्कारणा निष्कलङ्का निरुपाधिर्निरीश्वरा नीरागारागमथनी निर्मदा मदनाशिनी निश्चिन्ता निरहङ्कारा निर्मोहा मोहनाशिनी निर्ममा ममताहन्त्री निष्पापा पापनाशिनी निष्क्रोधा क्रोधशमनी निर्लोभा लोभनाशिनी निस्संशया संशयग्नि निर्भवा भवनाशिनी निर्विकल्पा निराबाधा निर्भेदा भेदनाशिनी निर्नाशा मृत्युमथनी निष्क्रिया निष्परिग्रहा निस्तुला नीलचिकुरा निरपाया निरत्यया दुर्लभा दुर्गमा दुर्गा दुःखहन्त्री सुखप्रदा दुष्टदूरा दुराचारा शमनी दोषवर्जिता सर्वज्ञा सान्द्रकरुणा समानाधिकवर्जिता सर्वशक्तिमयी सर्वमङ्गला सद्गतिप्रदा सर्वेश्वरी सर्वमयी सर्वमन्त्रस्वरूपिणी सर्वयन्त्रात्मिका सर्वतन्त्ररूपा मनोन्मनी माहेश्वरी महादेवी महालक्ष्मीर्मुडप्रिया महारूपा महापूज्या महापातकनाशिनी महामाया महासत्वा महाशक्तिर्महारतिः महाभोगा महेश्वर्या महावीर्या महाबला महाबुद्धिर्महासिद्धिर्महायोगेश्वरेश्वरी महातंत्रा महामंत्रा महायंत्रा महासना महायागक्रमाराध्या महाभैरवपूजिता महेश्वर महाकल्पा महातांडवसाक्षिणी महाकामेश महिषी महात्रिपुरसुंदरी चतुष्षष्टुपचाराढ्या चतुष्षष्टिकलामयी महाचतुष्षष्टिकोटि योगिनी गणसेविता मनुविद्या चंद्रविद्या चंद्रमंडलमध्यगा चारुरूपा चारुहासा चारुचंद्रकलाधरा चराचर जगन्नाथा चक्रराजनिकेतना पार्वती पद्मनयना पद्मराग समप्रभा पंचप्रेतासनासीना पंचब्रह्मस्वरूपिणी चिन्मयी परमानंदा विज्ञान घनरूपिणी ध्यानध्यातृध्येय रूपा धर्माधर्म विवर्जिता विश्वरूपा जागरिणी स्वपंती तैजसात्मिका सुप्ता प्राज्ञात्मिका तुर्या सर्वावस्था विवर्जिता सृष्टिकर्त्री ब्रह्मरूपा गोप्त्री गोविंदरूपिणी संहारिणी रुद्ररूपा तिरोधानकरीश्वरी सदाशिवानुग्रहदा पंचकृत्य परायणा भानुमंडल मध्यस्था भैरवी भगमालिनी पद्मासना भगवती पद्मनाभ सहोदरी उन्मेष निमिषोत्पन्न विपन्न भुवनावली सहस्रशीर्षवदना सहस्राक्षी सहस्रपात आब्रह्मकीट जननी वर्णाश्रम विधायिनी निजाज्ञारूप निगमा पुण्या पुण्यफलप्रदा श्रुतिसीमंत सिंदूरी कृतपादाब्जधूलिका सकलागम संदोह शुक्ति संपुटमुक्तिका पुरुषार्थप्रदा पूर्णा भोगिनी भुवनेश्वरी अंबिकानादि निधना हरिब्रह्मेन्द्र सेविता नारायणी नादरूपा नामरूप विवर्जिता ह्रींकारी ह्रीमती हृदया हेयोपादेयवर्जिता राजराजार्चिता राज्ञी रम्या राजीवलोचना रंजनी रमणीरस्य रणत्किङ्किणीमेखला रमा राकेन्दुवदना रतिरूपा रतिप्रिया रक्षाकरी राक्षसग्नि रामा रमणलम्पटा काम्या कामकलारूपा कदम्बकुसुमप्रिया कल्याणी जगती गंदा करुणा रससागरा कलावती कलालापा कांता कादंबरी प्रिया वरदा वामनयना वारुणी मदविह्वला विश्वाधिका वेदवेद्या विंध्याचल निवासिनी विधात्री वेदजननी विष्णुमाया विलासिनी क्षेत्रस्वरूपा क्षेत्रेशी क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञपालिनी क्षयवृद्धि विनिर्मुक्ता क्षेत्रपाल समर्चिता विजया विमला वंद्या वंदारुजनवत्सला वाग्वादिनी वामकेशी वह्निमण्डलवासिनी भक्तिमत्कल्पलतिका पशुपाश विमोचनी संहृता शेषपाषण्डा सदाचार प्रवर्तिका तापत्रयाग्निसंदप्ता समाह्लादन चंद्रिका तरुणी तापसाराध्या तनुमध्या तमोपहा चितिस्तत्पदलक्ष्यार्था चिदेकरसरूपिणी स्वात्मानन्दलवीभूता ब्रह्माद्यानन्दसन्ततिः परा प्रत्यक्षितीरूपा पश्यन्ती परदेवता मध्यमा वैखरीरूपा भक्तमानसहंसिका कामेश्वर प्राणनाडी कृतज्ञा कामपूजिता शृंगाररससम्पूर्णा जया जालंधरस्थिता ओड्यानपीठनिलया बिन्दुमण्डलवासिनी रहो यागक्रमाराध्या रहस्तर्पणतर्पिता सद्यप्रसादिनी विश्वसाक्षिणी साक्षिवर्जिता षडङ्गदेवतायुक्ता षाड्गुण्यपरिपूरिता नित्यक्लिन्ना निरुपमा निर्वाणसुखदायिनी नित्या षोडशिकारूपा श्रीकण्ठार्धशरीरिणी प्रभावती प्रभारूपा प्रसिद्धा परमेश्वरी मूलप्रकृतिरव्यक्ता व्यक्ता व्यक्तस्वरूपिणी व्यापिनी विविधाकारा विद्या विद्यास्वरूपिणी महाकामेश नयना कुमुदाह्लादकौमुदी भक्तहार्दतमोभेदा भानुमद्भानुसन्ततिः शिवदूती शिवाराध्या शिवमूर्तिर्शिवङ्करी शिवप्रिया शिवपरा शिष्टेष्टाशिष्टपूजिता अप्रमेया स्वप्रकाशा मनोवाचामगोचरा चिच्छक्तिश्चेतनारूपा जडशक्तिर्जडात्मिका गायत्री व्याहृति संध्या द्विजबृन्दनिषेविता तत्त्वासना तत्त्वमयी पंचकोशान्तरस्थिता निस्सीम महिमा नित्य यौवनामदशालिनी मदघूर्णितरक्ताक्षी मदपाटलगण्डभूः चन्दनद्रवदिग्धाङ्गी चाम्पेयकुसुमप्रिया कुशला कोमलाकारा कुरुकुल्लाकुलेश्वरी कुलकुण्डालया कौलमार्गतत्परसेविता कुमारगणनाथाम्बा तुष्टिपुष्टिर्मतिधृतिः शान्तिस्वस्तिमती कान्तिर्नन्दिनी विघ्ननाशिनी तेजोवती त्रिनयना लोलाक्षी कामरूपिणी मालिनी हंसिनी माता मलयाचलवासिनी सुमुखी नलिनी शुभ्रशोभना सुरनायिका कालकंठी कांतिमती शोभिनी सूक्ष्मरूपिणी वज्रेश्वरी वामदेवी वयोवस्था विवर्जिता सिद्धेश्वरी सिद्धविद्या सिद्धमाता यशस्विनी विशुद्धिचक्रनिलया रक्तवर्णा त्रिलोचना खट्वांगादिप्रहरणा वदनैकसमन्विता पायसान्नप्रिया त्वक्स्था पशुलोकभयङ्करी अमृतादिमहाशक्तिः संवृता डाकिनीश्वरी अनाहताब्जनिलया श्यामा भावदनद्वया द्रंष्ट्रोज्ज्वलाक्षमालादिधरा रुधिरसंस्थिता कालरात्र्यादिशक्तियोगा वृता स्निग्धौदनप्रिया महावीरेन्द्रवरदा राकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी मणिपूराब्जनिलया वदनत्रयसंयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता रक्तवर्णा मांसनिष्ठा गुडान्न प्रीतमानसा समस्त भक्त सुखदा लाकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाधिष्ठानां भुजगता चतुर्वक्त्र मनोहरा शूलाद्यायुध संपन्ना पीतवर्णातिगर्विता मेधोनिष्ठा मधुप्रीता बन्दिन्यादिसमन्विता दध्यन्नासक्त हृदया काकिनी रूपधारिणी मूलाधाराम्बुजारूढ़ा पंचवक्त्रास्ति संस्थिता अंकुशादिप्रहरणा वरदादिनिषेविता मुद्गौदनासक्तचित्ता साकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी आज्ञाचक्राब्जनिलया शुक्लवर्णा षडानना मज्जा संस्था हंसवती मुख्यशक्ति समन्विता हरिद्रानैकरसिका हाकिनी रूपधारिणी सहस्रदल पद्मस्था सर्ववर्णोपशोभिता सर्वायुधधरा शुक्ल संस्थिता सर्वतोमुखी सर्वौदन प्रीतचित्ता याकिन्यम्बा स्वरूपिणी स्वाहा स्वधामतिर्मेधा श्रुतिस्मृतिरनुत्तमा पुण्यकीर्ति पुण्यलभ्या पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना पुलोमजार्चिता बंधमोचनी बंधुरालका विमर्शरूपिणी विद्या वेदादिजगत्प्रसूः सर्वव्याधिप्रशमनी सर्वमृत्युनिवारिणी अग्रगण्या चिन्त्यरूपा कलिकल्मषनाशिनी कात्यायनी कालहंत्री कमलाक्षनिषेविता ताम्बूलपूरितमुखी दाडिमी कुसुमप्रभा मृगाक्षी मोहिनी मुख्या मृडानी मित्ररूपिणी नित्यतृप्ता भक्तनिधिर्नियंत्री निखिलेश्वरी मैत्र्यादिवासनालभ्या महाप्रलयसाक्षिणी पराशक्ति परानिष्ठा प्रज्ञान घनरूपिणी माध्वीपानालसामत्ता मातृका वर्णरूपिणी महाकैलास निलया मृणाल मृतदौर्लता महनीया दयामूर्तिर्महासाम्राज्यशालिनी आत्मविद्या महाविद्या श्रीविद्या कामसेविता श्री षोडशाक्षरी विद्या त्रिकूटा कामकोटिका कटाक्ष किंकरी भूता कमला कोटिसेविता शिरस्थिता चंद्रनिभा भालस्तेन्द्रधनुप्रभा हृदयस्थार विप्रख्या त्रिकोणांतरदीपिका दाक्षायनी दैत्यहंत्री दक्ष यज्ञविनाशिनी दरांदोलित दीर्घाक्षी दरहासोज्ज्वलन्मुखी गुरुमूर्तिर्गुणनिधिर्गोमाता गुहजन्मभूः देवेशी दंडनीथिस्था दहरा आकाशरूपिणी प्रतिपन्मुख्यरा कांतितिमंडलपूजिता कलात्मिका कलानाथा काव्यालापा विनोदिनी सचामररमावाणी सव्यदक्षिणसेविता आदिशक्तिरमेयात्मा परमा पावनाकृतिः अनेककोटिब्रह्माण्ड जननी दिव्यविग्रहा क्लींकारी केवला गुह्या कैवल्यपददायिनी त्रिपुरा त्रिजगद्वन्द्या त्रिमूर्तिसुरेश्वरी त्र्यक्षरी दिव्यगंधाढ्या सिंदूरतिलकांचिता उमा शैलेन्द्रतनया गौरी गंधर्वसेविता विश्वगर्भा स्वर्णगर्भा वरदा वागधीश्वरी ध्यानगम्या परिच्छेद्या ज्ञानदा ज्ञानविग्रहा सर्ववेदांत संवेद्या सत्यानंद स्वरूपिणी लोपामुद्रार्चिता लीलकृप्त ब्रह्मांडमंडला अदृश्यादृश्यरहिता विज्ञात्री वेदवर्जिता योगिनी योगदा योग्या योगानंदा युगंधरा इच्छाशक्ति ज्ञानशक्ति क्रियाशक्ति स्वरूपिणी सर्वाधारा सुप्रतिष्ठा सदसद्रूपधारिणी अष्टमूर्तिरजा जैत्री लोकयात्रा विधायिनी एकाकिनी भूमरूपा निर्द्वैताद्वैतवर्जिता अन्नदा वसुधा वृद्धा ब्रह्मात्मैक्यस्वरूपिणी बृहती ब्राह्मणी ब्राह्मी ब्रह्मानंद बलिप्रिया भाषा रूपा बृहत्सेना भावाभाव विवर्जिता सुखाराध्या शुभकरी शोभना सुलभा गतिः राजराजेश्वरी राज्यदायिनी राज्यवल्लभा राजत्कृपा राजपीठ निवेशित निजाश्रिता राजलक्ष्मी कोशनाथा चतुरंगबलेश्वरी राज साम्राज्यदायिनी सत्यसंधा सागर मेखला दीक्षिता दैत्यशमनी सर्वलोकवशंकरी सर्वार्थदात्री सावित्री सच्चिदानंद रूपिणी देशकाला परिच्छिन्ना सर्वगा सर्वमोहिनी सरस्वती शास्त्रमयी गुहाम्बा गुह्यरूपिणी सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्ता सदाशिवपतिव्रता संप्रदायेश्वरी साध्वी गुरुमण्डलरूपिणी कुलोत्तीर्णा भगाराध्या माया मधुमतीमही गणाम्बा गुह्यकाराध्या कोमलांगी गुरुप्रिया स्वतंत्रा सर्वतंत्रेशी दक्षिणामूर्तिरूपिणी सनकादिसमाराध्या शिवज्ञानप्रदायिनी चित्कलानंदकलिका प्रेमरूपा प्रियंकरी नामपारायण प्रीता नंदिविद्या नटेश्वरी मिथ्या जगदधिष्ठाना मुक्तिदा मुक्तिरूपिणी लास्य प्रिया लयकरी लज्जारंभादिवंदिता भवदा वसुधा वृष्टि पापारण्यदवानला दौर्भाग्यतूलवातूला जराध्वांतरविप्रभा भाग्याब्धिचंद्रिका भक्तचित्तकेकी घना घना रोगपर्वतदंबोलिर्मृत्युदारु कुठारिका महेश्वरी महाकाली महाग्रासा महाशना अपर्णा चंडिका चंडमुंडासुरनिषूदिनी क्षराक्षरात्मिका सर्वलोकेशी विश्वधारिणी त्रिवर्गदात्री सुभगा त्र्यंबका त्रिगुणात्मिका स्वर्गापवर्गदा शुद्धा जपा पुष्पनिभाकृतिः ओजोवती द्युतिधरा यज्ञरूपा प्रियव्रता दुराराध्या दुरादर्शा पाटली कुसुमप्रिया महती मेरुनिलया मंदार कुसुमप्रिया वीराराध्या विराड्रूपा विरजा विश्वतोमुखी प्रत्यग्रूपा पराकाशा प्राणदा प्राणरूपिणी मार्ताण्डभैरवाराध्या मंत्रिणी न्यस्तराज्यधूः त्रिपुरेशी जयत्सेना निस्त्रैगुण्या परापरा सत्यज्ञानानन्दरूपा सामरस्य परायणा कपर्दिनी कलामाला कामधुक्कामरूपिणी कलानिधि काव्यकला रसज्ञा रससेवदिः पुष्टा पुरातना पूज्या पुष्करा पुष्करेक्षणा परंज्योति परंधामा परमाणु परात्परा पाशहस्ता पाशहंत्री परमंत्र विभेदिनी मूर्ता मूर्ता नित्यतृप्ता मुनिमानसहंसिका सत्यव्रता सत्यरूपा सर्वांतर्यामिनी सती ब्रह्माणी ब्रह्मजननी बहुरूपा बुधार्चिता प्रसवित्री प्रचंडाज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा प्रकटाकृतिः प्राणेश्वरी प्राणदात्री पंचाशत्पीठरूपिणी विशृंखला विविक्तस्था वीरमाता वियत्प्रसूः मुकुंदा मुक्तिनिलया मूलविग्रहरूपिणी भावज्ञा भवरोगग्नि भवचक्रप्रवर्तिनी छन्दस्सारा शास्त्रसारा मंत्रसारा तलोदरी उदार कीर्तिरुद्दाम वैभवावर्णरूपिणी जन्म मृत्युजरा तप्त जन विश्रांतिदायिनी सर्वोपनिषदुद्घुष्टा शांत्यतीत कलात्मिका गंभीरा गगनांतस्था गर्विता गानलोलुपा कल्पनारहिता काष्ठा कांता कांतार्धविग्रहा कार्यकारण निर्मुक्ता कामकेली तरंगिता कनत कनकताटंका लीला विग्रहधारिणी अजाक्षय विनिर्मुक्ता मुग्धा क्षिप्रप्रसादिनी अंतर्मुख समाराध्या बहिर्मुख सुदुर्लभा त्रयी त्रिवर्ग निलया त्रिस्ता त्रिपुरमालिनी निरामया निरालंबा स्वात्मा रामा सुधा सती संसार पंक निर्मग्न समुद्धरण पंडिता यज्ञप्रिया यज्ञकर्त्री यजमान स्वरूपिणी धर्माधारा धनाध्यक्षा धनधान्य विवर्धिनी विप्रप्रिया विप्ररूपा विश्वभ्रमणकारिणी विश्वग्रासा विद्रुमाभा वैष्णवी विष्णुरूपिणी अयो निर्यो निलया कूटस्था कुलरूपिणी वीरगोष्ठी प्रिया वीरा नैष्कर्म्यानादरूपिणी विज्ञानकलनाकल्या विदग्धा बैन्दवासना तत्वाधिका तत्वमयी तत्वमर्थस्वरूपिणी सामगान प्रिया सौम्या सदाशिवकुटुम्बिनी सव्यापसव्य मार्गस्था सर्वापद्विनिवारिणी स्वस्था स्वभाव मधुरा धीरा धीर समर्चिता चैतन्यार्घ्य समाराध्या चैतन्य कुसुम प्रिया सदोदिता सदातुष्टा तरुणादित्यपाटला दक्षिणा दक्षिणाराध्या धरस्मेर मुखाम्बुजा कौलिनी केवलानर्घ्या कैवल्यपददायिनी स्तोत्र प्रिया स्तुतिमती श्रुति संस्कृत वैभवा मनस्विनी मानवती महेशी मंगलाकृति विश्वमाता जगद्धात्री विशालाक्षी विरागिनी प्रगल्भा परमोदारा परामोदा मनोमयी व्योमकेशी विमानस्था वज्रिणी वामकेश्वरी पंचयज्ञ प्रिया पंचमृत मंचाधिशायिनी पंचमी पंचभूतेशी पंचसंख्योपचारिणी शाश्वती शाश्वतैश्वर्या शर्मदा शंभुमोहिनी धरा धरसुता धन्या धर्मिणी धर्मवर्धिनी लोकातीता गुणातीता सर्वातीता शमात्मिका बंधु कुसुम प्रख्या बाला लीला विनोदिनी सुमंगली सुखकरी सुवेशाढ्या सुवासिनी सुवासिन्यर्चन प्रीता शोभना शुद्धमानसा बिंदुतर्पण संतुष्टा पूर्वजा त्रिपुरांबिका दशमुद्रा समाराध्या त्रिपुरा श्रीवशंकरी ज्ञानमुद्रा ज्ञानगम्या ज्ञानज्ञेय स्वरूपिणी योनिमुद्रा त्रिखंडेशी त्रिकोणांबा त्रिकोणगा अनघाद्भुत चारित्र्य वांछितार्थप्रदायिनी अभ्यासादिशज्ञाता षडध्वातीत रूपिणी अव्याज करुणामूर्तिरज्ञानध्वांत दीपिका आबालगोपविदिता सर्वानुल्यंग शासना Shri Chakraj Nilaya Shrimat Tripura Sundari Shri Shiva Shiva Shakti Rupini Lalitambika Evam Shri Lalita Devya Nam Sahasrakam Jaguhu Iti Shri Brahmanda Purane Uttarakande Shri Hayagrivagasya Samvade Shri Lalita Sahasranama Stotra Kathanam Sampurnam. Let me arrange for the Bhagavatam. I'll be back in 1 minute. Can you hear me clearly? Let us begin with Bhagavatam, the invocation. Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha Yam Pravrajantamanupetamapetakrityam Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravobhineduhu Tam Sarvabhutahridayam Munimanatosmi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayaditaratah Chartheshvabhignaswarat Tene Brahmahridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayah Tejo Varimudam Yatha Vinimayah Yatra Sargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyan Param Dhimahi Dharma Projita Kaitavotra Paramaha Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Moolanam Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parairishwaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudhyate Trakritibihi Sushrushuਭस्तक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. Maitreya Rishi and Vidura Mahatma Samvada, it continues. It continues from the earlier chapter. So in the last chapter, Maitreya Rishi started with the Manu Santati, and he explained all the daughters that were given in marriage to different Prajapatis and different Saptarishis and what their progeny is. One thing that caught Vidura Mahatma's attention, not that he did not know the story, not that he was not aware of it, but hearing it again and again, there is manana that happens. So, Vidura Mahatma specifically asks about Daksha Prajapati and his daughter Sati Devi, and why Daksha Prajapati had this animosity towards Bhagwan Shiva, who happened to be his own Damatru, Damatru, Damad, the son-in-law. What happened? So, अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः विदुरोवाच भवे शीलवतां श्रेष्ठे दक्षो दुहितृवत्सलः दक्षः दुहितृवत्सलः. He certainly loved all his daughters. Duhitru. And why did that Daksha, who loved his daughters, one of his daughters, Sati Devi, why did he insult? Why was there a situation where it was so pressing for Daksha Prajapati to insult Bhagwan Shambhu, Bhagwan Shiva? Who is Bhagwan Shiva? Kastam charachara gurum nirvairam shanta vigraham atma ramam katham dveshti jagato daivatam mahat. Imam jagataha, for this creation, daivatam mahat. Bhagwan Shiva is considered as one of the greatest of the trinities. How is he? Charachara Guru. He is the Adi Guru of the entire creation. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Nirvairam. He doesn't have enmity towards anybody. Why? He is Shanta Vigraham. He is always in Shanti. Why? He is always in meditation. Atma Ramam. Now, how can somebody afford to find something to pick on and have this kind of dvesha that Daksha Prajapati developed towards Bhagwan Shambhu? Having thus been questioned by Vidura Mahatma, Maitreya Ji Uvacha. What did he say in his Uvaching? In his response to this? Like any story begins. Once upon a time, long, long ago, so long ago that it is a history. Pura Vishwasrajam Satre Sametah Paramarshayah Tatha Amaragana Sarve Sanuga Munayognayah Tatra Pravishta Mrishayah Drishtvarkamiva Rochisha Bhrajamanam Vitimiram Kurvantam Tanmahatsadaha. Long time ago, there was this Prajapatya Yajna, and in that Prajapati Yajna, Brahma and Shivji, both of them were seated. All the rishis, Agni Ityadi Devatas were also seated. See, today when we do the offerings into a Yajna Kunda, in Hindi we call it Homa, not the English home. Yes, in the English home they do home. The Yajna Karya, we invoke these different devatas and we say Indraya Swaha Idanna Mama, Varunaya Swaha Idanna Mama, and that bhaga goes to that particular devata. Now, here in this Homa, is obviously in the upper worlds, all these devatas were seated right there, and that portion was directly given to all of them. So, such Prajapati Yajna was happening. And Daksha Prajapati entered the dragon. And as he entered in, his presence was definitely recognized by all the devatas. He was a Surya Varchasvi. He was Nishthavan, very dharmika. So he entered into that Yagashala. As he entered into that Yagashala, there were, as I said, Brahmaji, Bhagvan Shiva, and all the devatas. So all the Rishi, Muni, Devata Gana, all of them stood up in welcoming Daksha Prajapati. Daksha Prajapati holds a very important position. So when the official comes, I mean, everybody that is under that rule of that official naturally will get up. Only the two people that did not get up were the Varishtha, those who were senior, those who were greater than, those who were obviously Brahmaji and Shivaji were seated. And Bhagwan Shiva was actually absorbed into something as well. Like, he was in his own dhyana atura. When Daksha Prajapati came and sat down, he offered his namaskara to Brahmadeva and then turned with an angry eye towards Shiva, Bhagwan Shiva. Now, he can say Shiva because Damatru. So he turned towards him and he saw that Bhagwan Shiva was seated and he did not get up like the other devatas. Neither did he turn around to say hi, hello. Being in Chinmaya Mission, we get so habituated. Once I was at a restaurant, I think it was a Thai restaurant. Instead of calling the attention of the person serving as excuse me, inadvertently it went Hari Om. And then I was like amused to myself and I giggled to myself, like that becomes a habit. So Bhagwan Shiva did not even turn. When you recognize somebody, you say, how are you? Like, just nod the head, recognizing their presence. Not even a nod of head from Bhagwan Shiva. जली तो थी पर उसमें मिर्ची भी लग गई. He didn't like it. He didn't appreciate it. Daksha Prajapati did not appreciate it. Still, seeing that Shiva unmoved by his presence, let alone a welcoming getting up, he did not even turn to nod his head and recognize the presence of Prajapati Daksha. So when that happened, Daksha Prajapati, who was already cross with Bhagwan Shiva because he did not get up, he kind of lost it. Daksha Prajapati को बहुत गुस्सा आया. Yes, we can make a movie here. दक्ष को गुस्सा क्यों आता है? So he got angry. श्रूयताम ब्रह्मर्षयो में सह देवा सहाग्नयः साधूनां ब्रुवतो वृत्तं नाज्ञानान्न च मत्सरात्. हे देवतागण, हे अग्निदेव इत्यादि, हे ऋषि मुनि इत्यादि, whatever I am saying, I am not saying out of matsara, irsha bhava, but it is sishtachara. Sishtachara, arya pravritti, where you welcome others and you acknowledge when they come. Otherwise, it would be considered as against the Shishtachara, therefore, it would be considered as insulting. And we have given respect to somebody by even allowing them be seated here, thinking that they are Satpurusha, but if they are not behaving as Satpurusha, then we need to rethink about how this Shishtachara can be re-established. Of course, I'm talking about this Shiva. He goes now personal. He doesn't leave it there. I'm talking about this Shiva who has been married to my daughter. In that way, he is kind of my son only. एष मे शिष्यतां प्राप्तः यन्मो दुहितुरग्रहीत पाणिं विप्राग्निमुखतः सावित्र्या इव साधुवत्. And Agni, in front of you, he did the panigrahana of my daughter. And look at his audacity that he doesn't even get up for his father-in-law when he enters into this mukhya gathering. He doesn't stop there. See, sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, when we have made a point, we should know when to stop. And Bhagvan Shiva is, if you go through the entire chapter, you show how to find restraint in oneself. When somebody is so demeaningly attacked, that too in front of everybody, that is when you show the restraint. Now, when you have conveyed your point, it is not necessary to rub it across in such a way that there is no room for you to get out of that situation, especially in arguments, especially when you are mad at somebody and you want to convey that you are mad at somebody. Most of the times we know we have conveyed what has to be conveyed. अब रुक जाना चाहिए. But instead, what we do is the undesirable. We go across and not just do the undesirable, we start saying things. See, if you hit somebody, they will remember it as long as the pain is there. Then the pain is gone, you are forgotten, you move on. But this boneless muscle and the impact of this boneless muscle called tongue, when we say things, why do you have to say it? Is there a necessity to say it? Probably not. I call this the jihwa ki kujli. Kujli, eczema. Eczema is an aberration. we know we have conveyed the point, we should stop there. But just to rub it across and almost like crushing the ego of the other person, that is when we will find मजा आया आज बोलने में, मजा आया आज. I gave it to them. Not only that you have given it, you also feel very proud of giving it. So that is what is our Daksha Prajapati indulging in. So that is the first lesson to learn. When it is an agitated situation, find your balance and don't go on a trip. Ego trip. If you have to convey it in a very stern, simple manner and leave it at it. You don't have to go across and then, smear it and then put them in the corner and then many of us draw that sadistic pleasure out of doing this to the other ego around. Now, what did Daksha Prajapati do? He says, Grihitva mrigashavakshaha panim markatalochanaha. He calls Bhagvan Shiva as a markatalochana. ये बंदर जैसे आंख वाले शिव. He did not get up, fine. He did not even turn to say hello to his own father-in-law. How insulting is that towards or in front of everybody if somebody does this? Now this fellow is like somebody who has been given the Veda Jnana, though that fellow is not qualified for it. And how does he live? प्रेतावासेषु घोरेषु प्रेतैर्भूतगणैर्वृतः. And he loves to live with these because he lives in a smashana and there are a lot of pretaganas, and pretaganas are those who are always around him. I don't know what kind of person loves to be in the presence of these pretaganas. Look at his hair, always unkempt, and that unholy bhasma, he puts it all across his body, and it is so disgusting. Shivapadesho hya ashivaha. He calls himself as Shiva, but he is Ashiva. Always with the inauspicious, wearing the inauspicious bhasma from that smashana. He is mattaha mattajana priyaha. Mattaha, intoxicated, and is loved by these intoxicant fools around. Now when this was happening, one thing to note. Did Bhagwan Shiva, as unperturbed he was when Daksha Prajapati came in, did he get perturbed, reactive? And if he wanted, he could have done tapak, and that fellow's head would have been rolling. He did not even turn around. There was not even a iota of reaction from Bhagwan Shiva. I think when somebody is getting angry and you don't respond, they get even angrier. अरे इतना बोल रहा हूं, तुम्हें कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है. So Maitreya Ji says that when Dakshaha athapa upasprisya kruddha shapatum prachakrame, that when there was not even a response, there was not even a reaction from Bhagvan Shiva, then Daksha Prajapati got so annoyed that he wanted to now give a shapa. Now, whenever shapa is given, there is Varuna Devata invoked. So, from the Kamandalu, he took some water, and in that Anjali, when he filled that water, everybody was like, "What is this? Drop that water. Don't do this." Even though everybody were requesting him to stop, he went, because in anger, क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः, सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः, स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धि switch off. Buddhi doesn't work. It doesn't click in. He was in that sway and he unleashed himself. This Mahadeva, he considers, in the name also he keeps his Mahadeva, that he is Mahan among the Devatas, but he is the Nikrishta. Now this Nikrishta, Adhama, gets the Yajna Bhaga portion, like Indra, Agni, Varuna, all these Devatas get the Yajna Bhaga. Henceforth, he will never receive any Yajna Bhaga from any Yajna that is ever conducted, ever. Because he is the uncouth, undeserving Ashiva, though he calls himself as the greatest among the Devas. Now, after having given the Shapa, after having been requested by the other Devatas and Rishiganas, saying, please take away your Shapa, this is unfair, this is not right, this is going to create an unnecessary situation towards everyone. Why would you want to do this? So, Daksha Prajapati said, nothing doing, once given is given. मैंने एक बार दे दिया है तो दे दिया बस. And he stomped as he left from that particular place. As he stomped out, outside this Yagashala, all the Sevaka, including Nandi, were standing there. Somebody came and informed Nandi Bhagwan that this is what this Daksha Prajapati did inside. Ayyo. What happened? Now, that Daksha Prajapati, as he was stepping out, he must have passed in front of Nandishwara. So, Nandishwara did not like two things. One, this Daksha Prajapati saying so, and the rest of them who were walking along with the Daksha Prajapati giving. There were many who were sitting inside, including Brahmaji, who did not appreciate what Daksha Prajapati did. There were few who did appreciate what Daksha Prajapati did, and as though in support of him, walked away from that Yagnashala along with Daksha Prajapati. So towards them as well. The one who did what he did and those who were supporting the one who did what he did. So Nandi got so mad that he gave two shapas. Shapa done, the Prati Shapa. Because that kopa became contagious. That krodha became contagious. So he said, this Daksha Prajapati, who is so bodily identified that he doesn't recognize that uh, his son-in-law is the Trikalagnya, that Mahadeva himself, and he behaves so badly with him. Not only behaves, he calls him names, he calls him all of this. It's all because of his Deha Tadatmyata, with this bodily identification. That is where all this ignorance comes forth from. But he is displaying himself to be Jnani, Atmavit, which is not like the displayed action. Therefore, he says, Griheshu Kutadharmeshu Sakto Gramya Sukheච්ඡaya Karmatantram Vitanute Vedavada Vipannadhihi. It is this fellow who is so identified with his body. I say this fellow should become completely lost of his Atma Jnana. Identified with the body, may he live like a grihastha, running after home, wife, children all his life. And with that mouth where he just disregarded and disrespected Shiva, may that head itself be replaced with a goat's head. Why goat's head? Because whatever he just blabbered, it was like the goat making sounds. Meh, meh. So may you get that head only then. And what to talk of these brahmanas that are appreciating what Daksha Prajapati has done and walk away along with them. Now such people, they are supposed to be, when they are Shankaradrohi. Now these Shankaradrohis, these brahmanas, they will give up their Veda Anusthana and use that knowledge only for filling their bellies and running around from house to house. These brahmanas are only good for that. Those who do Shankara Droha, that this is the phala for them. Now when Nandishwara gave this kind of a shapa, one of those who was following along with Daksha Prajapati was Bhrugu. Now Bhrugu didn't like the way he generalized it, and the entire Brahmana Jati was given a shapa. Bhrugu also stepped in. It was not his fight. Nandi, it was not his fight. But when it जैसे आग लग जाती है ना, so when the fire catches and it just spreads around, it just takes many people into that same sway. So this Bhrugu, he then immediately gave a shapa to all the Shiva Bhaktas. See how it just got escalated. The Daksha Prajapati, when he came in, he found it insulting that Bhagvan Shiva had to get up, if not get up, at least acknowledge, and therefore he gave shapa to Bhagvan Shiva. Bhagwan Shiva did not utter a single word in retaliation. And that was seen more infuriating, and then he lashed out and gave a shapa to Bhagwan Shiva. Then Nandi Ishvara, he got angry. Then Brahmana Jati was given a shapa. Then Brahmanottama Bhrugu, Rishi Bhrugu, he gave a shapa to all the Shiva Bhaktas. That's why I said Gali Galoj bahut hai aaj. So he said, those who are Shiva Bhakta, भवव्रतधरा ये च ये चतान् समनुव्रताः पाखण्डिनस् पाखण्डिनस्ते भवन्तु सच्छास्त्रपरिपन्थिनः. It says, may all Shiva Bhaktas become Pakhandi, Pakhandinaha. Pakhandi, those who are of the types where they will do all kinds of immoral things. Why? Nashta shaucho mudhadiyah jata bhasmasti dharinah vishantu shiva dikshayam yatra daivam suravasam. This is, may those who are already with this kind of immoral behavior, unethical behavior, may they find it easy to be the devotee of Shiva. Meaning, may his devotees only be such kind of people. Such sattvic ones who are the Brahmana, who are following the Sat Shastra. Now, you give a shapa to such one, but you will be either worshipped by those who are Pakhandinaha or those who turn to become Pakhandinaha. These are going to be the Shiva Bhaktas. Now, when it went into that kind of a strife where one after the other, 3 shapas in under 5 minutes, world record created, where one after the other for a whole classification of people were being. So Bhagvan Shiva got up from that very disturbing environment and he went away. Then Maitreya Ji says, once after all this episode was done, there was another yajna karma which in the Prajapati Loka, Daksha Prajapati was organizing, and there the Ishtadeva invoked was Bhagwan Sri Hari, and all the Rishi, Muni, Ganas, everybody were there. And needless to say, he had specifically uninvited Bhagwan Shiva from that, because he said, anyway, from here forth, there is no yajna bhaga to be given to that Mahadeva. Therefore, it is not necessary for inviting him anywhere close to this particular event. So, such yaga was happening in the Prajapati Loka. Now, what happened in that Prajapati Loka when such yaga was happening? So, that is taken up in the next chapter. See, all the devatas that were going to the Prajapatya Yajna, they had to fly over Kailash. All the devatas, all the Yaksha, Kinnara, Kimpurusha, in their different vahanas, as they were crossing, somebody who knew, I'm just visualizing it for you, somebody who knew Sati Devi said, hey Sati, do you know we are going to your your mother's place only, तुम्हारे मायके ही जा रहे हैं, तुम अभी भी यहीं पे हो, you are still here. Sati Devi, what is happening there? Oh, you don't even know what is happening? That is strange. There's a big yaga that is being conducted. So 3, 4, 5 people, all those who were crossing by, they had this aerial message that they conversed with Sati Devi. And what happened? It prompted Sati Devi to do something. Now that is covered in the next chapter. In this particular chapter, one mukhya vishesha to be taken: when you are angry, when you are upset, when you are disturbed, refrain from making erroneous decisions. That is not the time to make erroneous decisions. How many times we hear this? But still, what do we end up doing? The buddhi nashta, the way it impacts, is quite a forceful one. When buddhi is not functioning, we end up blurting out things, saying things, and the worst of all, we make decisions in that agitated moment, which we will regret for the rest of the life. So please, when in anger, do the following, one of the following. Go take a cold shower. Cold water, take a shower. Or go out for a walk. Leave that environment. Reacting to it is not going to yield any, and in that reactionary pattern, making decisions and taking decisive directions, it will only yield to unfathomably wrong situations. So, the effect is not yet stopped. That which was initiated in this chapter, it has the effect in the next chapter as well. That we will see next week. I'll now request Sushma Amma to come forward, and we will have. Is she here? She's there.
हरिओम स्वामी जी।
Pranam. Hariom.
हरिओम। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारि बरनौ रघुबर बिमल जसु दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरौ कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ ब्रज और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मुंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हर शिवर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिस जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद सकै कहते तुमोपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जल दिलांति गए अचर जना दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारे सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीर। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न धरे, हनुमत से ई सर्व सुख करे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, हो यह सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय डेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसौ सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Thank you so much, Amma.
हरिओम स्वामी, थैंक यू।
Hari, can you chant 3 times Mahamrityunjay mantra, please?
ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्।
Thank you, Hari. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Harihi Om. Thank you, everyone. Please do not forget to register for the camp. It's right around the corner. Not just you registering it, please inform other family and friends also to join. Let's partake in this beautiful opportunity for Sampurna Ramayana, morning and evening, and then early morning with yoga, and then the class from satsang from our Puja Guruji, Swami Tejomananji. It'll be an awesome experience. Of course, we'll be careful, but it'll be an awesome experience to be in person and to submerge ourselves into that Ramayana Patha.